Record Black Friday sales this year, but it's coming at a cost to the consumer, a danger you need to look out for. I've got that more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Black Friday is important. It's important in the overall economy. Obviously, Wall Street is paying attention because 70% or so of GDP of our economy is driven by the consumer. And Black Friday and the holiday shopping season is sort of a gauge of, is the consumer healthy? Are they spending? And obviously, as they spend, that helps businesses. And obviously, it's all connected. So this is a myth. This is a legend. Okay, they call it Black Friday because retailers, it's said that they're in the red all year, so they're at a loss. They're in negative territory all year, and then by the time Black Friday hits, they've got all these sales and business or consumers spend so much money, it finally gets them in the black, gets them positive. I believe that's a myth. That's not where it originally started. But anyway, that idea, if you apply that to consumers, it could be the exact opposite. What we want to avoid is that you as a consumer, yes, you want to enjoy Black Friday and you're getting gifts for your family and for loved ones, and hopefully you're getting great deals. However, you don't want to be in the black all year and then all of a sudden spend all this money and go into the red, go into a deficit during Black Friday. You don't want to be the exact opposite. But all right, they've got two headlines here that you cannot unlink. Okay, they're headlines from a couple weeks apart, but you can't unlink them. They are they are connected. Okay, the first, yes, record Black Friday sales. Now this is important because the economy is both hot and cold. It's sort of red hot in some areas, and other areas are significantly off and very much cooling and threatening, right? And there's this big consensus that we're either in a recession or we're going to see one in 2023. So record Black Friday sales, up 2.3% from the previous record from last year. That's fantastic news. Now, in my opinion, you got to be careful. There's a little bit of confusion in those numbers. If costs are up, if overall inflation is up, let's say 8% from a year earlier, shouldn't sales be up 8% from a year earlier instead of 2%? So to me, that's a little interesting. Yes, retailers are one of the areas that is very much cold in the economy, and so there's been more deals and all of that. But anyway, I would have expected when I saw the headline that record Black Friday sales, no surprise. When I saw the actual details that it was only up 2%, 2.3%, I thought, well, geez, that's actually not that good. But record Black Friday sales, the consumer showed up. The consumer showed up and spent a lot of money. Now, you got to connect that headline to the one a couple weeks earlier, record credit card balance increases. Record credit card balance increases. Now, this one isn't record ever. We'll get to that in just a second. But the highest jump in credit card balances in 20 years. Credit card balances jumped 15% from a year earlier, and this is before the holiday season. So to me, if that's a trend, and it has been a trend throughout 2022, we've seen inflation, things are costing more, and yes, hopefully you and others, you're making a little bit more money, but are you making more money to keep up with how expensive your life is getting? And yes, you can look at inflation, but that applies to each of us differently because of your own taste and spending habits, those sorts of things. And so, and does that come equally? Meaning, yeah, you might have gotten a pay raise that you might be making more than what the overall cost of living is. However, were you having to shoulder higher prices and higher expenses before you got the pay raise and whatnot? And anyway, all of those changes, that shifting has led to higher credit card balances. And I would argue that trend has continued and will continue when the data shows into the holiday season, and we're going to find out come the first quarter of 2023 that in the fourth quarter, right now, credit card balances rose again and did surpass a record. Right now, total credit card balances are just shy of a record level. We're almost at $1 trillion in total credit card debt. My guess is we're surpassing that right now as we speak. We'll see what the data says in a couple of months. And it's not just that. It's not just that credit card balances are high, because you could argue the same thing. Wait a second, didn't they print a whole bunch of money? There's a lot more money flowing out there in the economy. So of course credit card balances should be higher. Percentage wise, they can be the same, but of course they're going to be higher because there's more money out there. Yeah, I get that. However, when you add interest rates on top of that have now reached a record level. They were around 16% on average for credit cards, which is outstanding. Like that is incredible. That's a high number, not outstanding in a good way. That's incredible. 16%. They're now averaging 19% right now. Credit card interest rates. So we've got record high balances on credit cards, the highest increase that we've seen in 20 years in overall balances, and these are at extremely high interest rates, 19%. So you can't unlink these. The consumer is spending money, inflation is real, credit card balances are skyrocketing, they are linked. Therefore, what do you do? And the big thing, and some of you might be listening to this saying, well, I don't have that issue. Well, the data doesn't lie, and so it's very possible that more people are finding themselves in this scenario. So what do you do about it? So two things. One, the credit card debt prevention strategy and the credit card debt elimination strategy. Okay, let's start with prevention at first. Okay, a 3 bank account system, and working that 3 bank account system is the credit card prevention system. It's the credit card avoidance system. And what that is, okay, is where you've got your bank account structure, you've got your cash flow strategy, so that you've got bucket number 1 where you've laid out via a monthly budget in Excel, and then you're using some sort of electronic system to track it. We've got a system that we use with our clients, and where you know how much money is coming in to bucket number 1, that's your checking account, each month automatically going in, and then you know all of your normal monthly expenses. And those are broken down by your fixed expenses, those ones that show up every month and the amount doesn't change, Netflix or the mortgage or rent, those sorts of things. But then you also have all your normal monthly expenses that are variable. So the amounts vary a little bit, grocery bills and shopping and some utilities if you don't have it on the budget plan. So those are still monthly expenses. They show up every single month, but the amounts vary a little bit. So in bucket number 1, you've accounted for how much is coming in and then how much is going out for those regular monthly expenses, and you make sure that it balances. You've got enough money coming in to cover all those expenses and then some. I'll get to that in just a second, so that things aren't too tight. You haven't overextended yourself. So that's bucket number 1. Bucket number 2 then is really the magic, and that's delayed spending. That's where you've looked at all of the non-monthly expenses, all of the expenses that are going to show up in your life, but they don't happen every single month. And you've laid those out, and you've kind of summed all of those up, and you divide that by 12. So out of that monthly budget, out of that immediate spending, you're saving 1/12 of those total delayed expenses into the bucket number 2, and so that's got to fit in your immediate budget as well. Okay, so that covers all your monthly expenses. It then covers all of your non-monthly expenses, and then the third bank account covers all the things that you can't anticipate, can't predict. Those are emergencies. Okay, so that's where you stuff 3 to 6 months of your overall lifestyle into a third bucket, a money market type of account, something that is liquid, it's accessible, it's FDIC insured, it's safe, and then it should be free. There should be no fees associated with it, okay? And so it's there when you need it and accessible. If you've got a monthly budget that's covering all of your normal monthly expenses, you've laid out all your delayed spending, so all your non-monthly expenses, things that are going to come up, and you've got that system funded as well, and then you've got an emergency fund set aside for the things that you can't anticipate, when would you need to use a credit card? You see what I mean? So credit cards are short-term loans, and if you've got everything covered in the short term, or for your kind of normal monthly stuff, you've looked out ahead and said, okay, yep, the stuff that I know is upcoming, I've got money set aside for that too. And the stuff that I didn't know, it caught me off guard, it was a surprise, it was an emergency, I've got money set aside for that. When would you use a credit card? Well, the only time you use it is to get points or get some perks, or I buy things online using a credit card because of the theft protection that I don't use my debit card for that. So you would use a credit card there, but then you would, because it's all in your budget, you would just pay it off, pay your balance off every single month. And so it's very possible people were working that system, and because things now cost more, all of a sudden that credit card bill became bigger, and you couldn't really cover it with your normal income. And to that, I say you got to update your budget. You got to update this three bank account system and make sure that you got a handle on what your expenses are. But that's the credit card prevention system, the credit card avoidance system. And the more you use that three bank account system, the better you'll get at it, and the less likely it will be that you'll ever get into credit card trouble. All right, so that's the first thing you need to put in place. But then what if you currently find yourself in credit card trouble, or more credit card balances than what if you fall in this statistic where, yeah, my credit card balances are up 15% from a year prior and interest rates are higher. I got to get out from under this thing. Then that's the credit card elimination system. That's the debt snowball, where you look, and as part of this monthly budget, you look and say, all right, how much is going towards these credit cards? And then how much extra could I find to put extra on the credit card balances to get them paid off? So how much goal achievement do you have in that monthly budget? And you list out all of your credit card debts, what your balance is, what your minimum payment is, what the interest rate is. And you can look at it two different ways. Dave Ramsey says start with the lowest balance first, and you pay a minimum payment on all of your credit cards except for that lowest balance. You put your minimum payment, but then everything else that you can manage goes onto that credit card, and because it's the lowest balance, you'll have that one paid off very quickly. And then everything that you were putting on the smallest balance then goes onto the next smallest balance, then the next smallest balance, and so on. And that's how sort of you can plow through, or you can accumulate a lot of dollars going after paying off this credit card debt. You can get through it very quickly. That's the essence of the debt snowball. It's interesting, you can run the numbers to say, well, wait a second, what if I attack the highest interest rate first? Typically that's going to be better for you. But if that's the highest balance and it takes you longer to actually get through it, you might lose momentum and not be able to fulfill, kind of proceed with that overall system. But working that debt snowball, it's got to fit within your three bank account system. And you've got to find, okay, how much can go towards credit card debt? How much can go towards goal achievement? The goal is paying off the credit card debt right now in the short term, and therefore have as much money as possible going towards those credit cards. Your CFP can help you with both of those, right? Your CFP isn't just there to help you with your investments or help you get to retirement. They're to help you look at all 6 areas of your financial life and make sure that they're working in sync, that they're working together, and having your present financial position, your cash flow, your bank account structure, your debt, your credit card, all that, making sure that that's working. That's really the foundation for future success in your financial life. So your CFP should very much be helping you with that. If you don't have a CFP that can help you implement that, get you on a credit card prevention system, and if you have credit cards, get you on a credit card elimination system, you can call one of the CFPs on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.